I'm wishing on a star.
Hello, I'm Amber. Welcome to the 24 Hearts tutorial page. Sophie's already shown you how to make a fabulous wishing star. So today I'm going to show you how to make a slightly larger extended version of that. So it's a little slightly more complicated, but not much, to be honest. Right, what you're going to need is, so this, it looks a bit like this. Now I've cut out holes in mine, through, which you can do in yours too if you want. So what you're going to need is 10 pieces of willow, lots and lots of masking tape, and your pair of scissors. So you've got your 10 pieces of willow that you're going to use to make your star. You've got your pair of scissors and you've got your masking tape. Now you're going to use 5 of these to create the frame of the star and the other 5 to reinforce. The very first thing you're going to do is you're going to take your tape and you're going to tear off, like same as you did with Sophie. You're going to tear off some pieces of tape. In this case, 10 pieces, about 2 inches each. Right, there you go. Now I've got my 10. So you're going to take 5 of these, 2, 3, 4, 5. Put the other 5 aside for later on. Right. Now choose how long you want your star. So I'm going to say about the length of my arm. I think that's enough. All right. And then I'm going to take one of my pieces of tape and wrap it round. I want the place where it wraps to be wrapped several times. So it needs to look a little bit like that. Right. Then I'm going to put my thumbs like this, hold it, and there you go. You see how it hasn't, you know, it's kept its shape, it's now protected. Right, there we go. So I'm going to do the same thing with the other 4, using this one as my measure. Now this might seem not very important, but actually you are better off choosing one. So the very first one you do, use that as your measure all of the time. So don't go, okay, I'm putting that one aside and then measuring with that one and then measuring with that one. Keep the first one as your measure. So do that one, do that one. That way you know that they're all the same size, which just makes for a much neater star. It won't be a disaster if they're not all the same size, but it just looks a little bit neater and tidier.
Starry, starry night.
So now we have 5 pieces of willow, all broken in the same place. So take your first piece of willow and lay it down. You want to be working with the skinny end. Right. Take your next piece of willow and lay it fat end. Right, I'm just going to show you how this translates. So if you see how the bend is? So I'm making sure that they're all bending in the same direction. Does that make sense? So that if I fold this side in, it's towards the same side. It's all bending in the same direction. Right, so just to recap, I've got one piece, I'm taking my next piece, bending in the same direction that this one is, and I'm laying it fat end to skinny end. So that will start just where the join is, where the bend is, right? I'll take another piece of tape and we're just gonna tape that in place there. And then going round, you do that again. Let me just show you. So, oops. So bend in the same direction, skinny side to fat side, piece of tape and tape it up. Same thing again, like this may have to end up going behind you, and that's okay. Whoops. Same thing again. And you keep doing that until you've done that with all 5 of them. By the time you're finished, you should have I've got one more to do. A long stick that breaks in 5 places, exactly like the one you did with Sophie. The difference being that the one you did with Sophie was made out of 1 large piece of willow. This one's made out of 5 smaller pieces. And then the very last thing you do, you see that I've now got a very large frame to work with. The next thing to do is to, with your masking tape, tear off 5 small pieces and use them to tidy away your loose ends. By loose ends, I mean these. So you'll have 5 flappy little ends there. Just get rid of them. Very simply. And you should have now, as I'm doing this, I'll explain what's going on. So you should at this point have a very large and somewhat ungainly pentagon that's open on one side. So far, so similar to the original version of the wishing star. Right, there we go. Fluffy bits tucked away. Okay. So open-ended pentagon. And you're going to do the exact same thing you did with Sophie's tutorial. You're going to locate the 3rd section, i.e. the middle section. So 1, 2, 3. Right. Now, because this is quite large, it's difficult to make sure that you guys can see, but I will do everything to take you with me all the way. Right, can you see that? Yes, you can. Right, so let's take that down. I'm going to take it as far over here as I can to give us as much working space as we can. Right, let's go. I'm going to put that in place there and that in place there. So, taking your 2 sides, right, now you've now got 2 sections in your hand. You're going to cross them over like you did with Sophie. Can you see that? All right. Okay. Right, so you see that there's the cross. Now the side that's, move that out of the way. So the side that's underneath, in my case this side, my right, I'm just going to lay that there for now. I'm going to put him over and then slide him under. Right, he's going to very helpfully stay there for me. Yes, he is. Right, let's just tuck this one out the way. I should have done that at the beginning. I apologize. Here we are. So he's now, let me do that again so you can see. So you've now got 5 sides. You've got the 3rd side pinned down in place. You cross them over. The one that's underneath, in my case, this one here, you lay it over And then because these are small, they're quite flexible, you just tuck it under. And he's going to hopefully stay there, yes. With this one, because he, at the point where they cross, he's over, as you can see. So he's going to tuck under and then over both of them. Does that make sense? So over him, so he's on top of him. So he goes over, under, over. Right. Now, at this point, it'll look awkward. It'll look like some sort of Star Trek sign or something. Don't worry about that. This bit here, the one that's holding that in place, unpeel it, and you're going to use it. I'm going to have to stand up for this one, right? You're going to use it Does that work? Yeah. It's a bit tricky because it's large, so you know, you put those ends together. Right. You should now have a very wonky looking shape of a star. I'm going to reinforce him. Right, there we are. Wonky star, but that's okay. So at this point, another 5 pieces of tape. So this is the bit where you get to control the shape a little bit. You get to control what this looks like. So I like the roundy shape. I like this line, for example, here. Where is it? No, here. I like that line. So we're going to try and replicate that with all of them, making some even sides. So start with 1. Once you're pretty satisfied that all the sides are of even size, you get one of your pieces and you very loosely tape him into place. Now, if you look there, I've done that. The reason that I have not taped him into place properly yet will become apparent as I progress. Oh. Be patient. Because what I'm doing now is I'm sculpting this whole shape. So I'm going to do the same thing. Very loosely apply the tape. Just enough for it to hold, but not enough that you can't undo it. Let's see. Are you happy with that? Yeah, I'm quite happy with that. Let's have a look. He's a bit small on that side, so I'm gonna give him a bit more space. You see? So I'm gonna undo this one. Adjust for space. Now that I've got them all in place, I'm going to check, am I happy with this? Is there anything that's too small or too big? No, I'm pretty happy with that. Okay, so now that I'm happy with my shape, now I'm going to tape it down properly. It's a mystery. Sweet little mystery. Okay, so have we done them all? No, he's not done properly. Right, that's that one. We have the basic star. Ta-da! So in this next step, what we're going to do is we are going to reinforce our star. It is fabulous, but it's quite wobbly, as you can see. So we're going to reinforce that. First thing you're going to do is get your tape ready. You need 15 pieces, about an inch and a half long. Now, if you have a look, let me show you this, right? So if you have a look at this, you'll see that each side has a skinny and a fat together, and then just a pretty skinny one, which is the thin end of the willow. So you need to reinforce that side. So how we're going to do that is we're going to get our next 5 pieces of willow, and how to explain this right. So put it inside, just put it through the middle of, so that it weaves over and under. So it should go over where it was previously under, and then under where the other bit is over. So you'll end up with something that looks like that. Does that make sense? I'm really hoping that that makes sense. So you want fat end to skinny end. So this is what you should have. So you should have the fat side of that one ready to reinforce him, the skinny bit. And then on each of these joints, it should do the opposite of what the other one is doing. Right, and then simply tape that into place. So you'll need 3 pieces of tape. One for the top, one for the middle, and one for the other side. You might want to go over and put tape in other places once you're finished, just to make the shape really stush. But for now, that's you done, right? So then you break that off. And that's that bit reinforced. So you're going to do this to all of the sides. And also when you do that, you see that you get a really nice round shape, like a really friendly shape. So we like that, yeah. I mean, you guys make your star your way, obviously,